The skyscrapers causing vertigo.
Welcome to 604 Talks. I'm your host, Jaden Tang, and today we have a change of scenery. We're not out in public with a camera interviewing strangers. Today we're in the Sound Lab, and we're presenting you with episode 3. Before we get started, we just want to give a huge thanks to everybody and all the support that we've gotten for this podcast. It really means a lot to us, and it keeps us going. So without further ado, let's introduce our plan for this episode.
We're going to be splitting this into 2 different parts. The first part, we're going to discuss about the issues in Vancouver. And the second part, we're going to be talking about our opinions, our thoughts on these kind of issues.
So my beat is going to be around food. Not just what people eat, but what food says about community in Vancouver. It's going to revolve around accessibility, cost, and community within Vancouver and how food reflects that.
My beat focuses on drug usage in Vancouver and how we need to be helpful and supportive and compassionate towards the homeless population in our city.
My beat focuses on the tourism in Vancouver, how tourism impacts Vancouver communities, and how it actually is compared to how it seems like outside Vancouver.
So my beat is going to be about work life. We're going to split that into 2 different parts. The first part is going to be about how people are struggling to find job in this bad economy. And the second part is going to be about how they're able to afford to live in this, how they're able to live in this expensive city.
Hello, my beat is housing costs, and I'll be addressing the issues that Vancouver faces while finding houses and paying rent.
So Jaden, one thing I noticed when we were doing our interviews is that a lot of people said Vancouver is supposed to be chill, but their work life doesn't feel chill at all. So do you think work in Vancouver actually supports a healthy lifestyle, or does it kind of do the opposite?
Okay, well, from a personal standpoint, I'm not currently working, but I've heard a lot from people that are working that Vancouver doesn't really support this kind of lifestyle. People say that it's too stressful. Like Omar said, the housing costs and the everything, like just cost of living here in Vancouver, it doesn't really align with the lifestyle of somebody that's trying to find work full time. So yeah, to answer your question, I don't really feel like it supports that. Does that mean like you can't make it work? Like no, I know people that work full time and live in Vancouver and like they do it perfectly fine. So I think it's just a matter of finding that balance.
Great answer.
Thank you.
How about you, Omar?
Yeah, going back to your question, I think work life makes it very hard for people to move out, especially like looking back at the rent prices. It's really hard for people to keep up. So they might have to work more than one job to actually keep up with the prices.
Okay, so moving on to tourism. Like on the outside, Vancouver seems so perfect. All the food, mountains, scenery, views. So, but after doing this project, like, what do you guys think? Like, does it actually seem so perfect, or, there's problem that local faces that the tourism side doesn't really show? What do you think, Matt?
I think Vancouver isn't as perfect as some people may think it is. There's many issues such as high cost of living, a housing crisis, the ongoing drug crisis. There's many things in Vancouver that you may not see at a first glance, but really do affect the community.
Yeah, I agree with that, Matt. Living here and actually coming here like to travel is actually really different. Like for people that live here, they have to deal with long-term issues such as housing crisis, as you mentioned. But people who are coming here for tourism and actually like coming here to travel and to enjoy the city is really different. And I feel like they benefit a lot because they don't have to deal with all these kind of issues we have ongoing in Vancouver.
When we were talking and interviewing people on the street, almost everyone mentioned rents and housing costs. You guys think that housing costs is just an issue for adults, or do young people also suffer from this kind of issue?
That's a good question. I feel like I can only answer this in like a personal sort of way. I can't really speak for anybody else, but in my household, it's not really a problem that I'm necessarily thinking about or dealing with. I'm very fortunate that my parents are able to afford our house, and we buy it, we don't rent. So that's not really a thought that's in the back of my mind constantly, but yeah, it's definitely a thought that like creeps up like every once in a while. I think about like post-secondary, like university. I have to start paying for my own housing and stuff like that. So it's not a major concern. It's not something that I'm losing hair over or losing sleep over, but yeah, it's something that definitely worries me a little bit.
Darren, do you have anything to say?
Same as Jaden. The housing cost is not a big worry for me as well and my family. But then as well, yeah, like looking into universities and stuff. Like, do I have to move into like other houses, like moving out of where I live right now? Like, that's a concern for me as well, because the cost is like really high, especially from a student, and adding on to like university loads and all of that stuff. So yeah, I definitely think it's something that some teenagers might have to worry about, just not me, but for other people that might be a concern. But for adults, I definitely think like it really depends on their like income, obviously, and yeah, I think it just varies. Like, it's a case to case thing.
Having spent so much time on the streets of Vancouver interviewing people, do you think there are real ways that we can support homeless people?
So yeah, I think that's a really great question. So in terms of how we like really can benefit them, I think some of the people they just kind of like they didn't choose to be homeless. Like, really blunt, they just didn't choose to be homeless. They might have had issues with paying rent, and that's why they couldn't afford living in a place. So I think that in terms of what we can do, it's more of what the government or like what the whole community can do for them. Giving them job opportunities for them to get some income so they can afford a place. I think that's like something that's really straight up and something that we can do in terms of a community.
Yeah, and I want to add on to that. On top of just like government intervention, because that's really out of our reach. I want to add that like there's stuff we can do as well. Like in the last episode, you saw us interview Covenant House, Mrs. Pauline. She made a really good point about starting in our community, in our circle. Just spreading awareness about stuff that helps the homeless community, such as the Covenant House. Right? If you just tell one friend about it, that friend might tell two friends, and then it's just a domino effect, and more people get to know about the issue that's the infestation in our city, and then just ultimately like it's just that like spreading awareness. So it really starts with your own circle. I don't want people to think that it's a huge problem that students ourselves can't begin to solve, right? Like, it's not, oh, the government must do this. Like, we can start in our own circle by telling other people. So yeah. All right, so looking back at the videos, I think there's a reoccurring trend with the people that we interviewed. When we asked about the housing costs, I think a lot of people have this kind of notion that they're really frustrated about how expensive it is to live in the city. I think everybody expressed their opinions the same way, that Vancouver's a city that's quite hard to live in with all of the expenses. Housing, you've got like education and stuff, you have rent. So yeah, I think that kind of came up a lot in our interviews.
Yeah, and there's not like a specific age that worries about housing rent. Like, you can see everyone from all ages is worrying about rent. So it's like a global issue in Vancouver.
So what stood out to me was how rushed like Darius sounded when he was speaking. I feel like he is always like trading time and energy just to like keep his life up, being able to afford all the things he wants to, especially like eating food. Like, sometimes he gets like food for free, but usually he has to like work hard just to maintain his rent, because he's living like he's not even living with his parents anymore, and he's living alone, so he has to pay rent, which is like $3,000 a month. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, because like if you're still renting and you're like living alone, it's really important for people to like work hard every single day, because they're forced to. Like, they have no choice, right, Omar?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Darren wants to add something.
Let me butt in. Going back to Hollis's point that he's a very busy guy and he was kind of rushed. That just goes to show like not everybody in the city is like just cares about themselves. Like, Darius is a pretty influential person. Like, he's got a big following on social media, and he still made the time to come out and interview or get interviewed by 5 high school kids. And we just want to say a big thanks. Like, it's little gestures like that make all the difference in somebody's day. And Darius, if you're watching this, we just want to say like we appreciate you, man. Like, it means a lot to us, like what you did for us, and we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to add. Moving on, we're gonna look at some food stuff. So I think we kind of hit the jackpot with interviewing Darius here. When we're talking about food, you can see how kind of interested or like engaged he was in the conversation. He had a lot of knowledge and prior experience in the field. Obviously, being a food blogger, he's very well versed in this topic, and he knows a lot of people. He has a lot of connections. He's been to a lot of places, and yeah, I just really appreciated how he was so focused and engaged the whole time, and it just made for a better interview.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the interview with Darius kind of opened a new door for not just me, but maybe like newcomers to Vancouver. So like he really showcased the fact that Vancouver has a wide variety of cuisines and different types of food. So like Canadian food or like Western food. There's like different types of sushi or like Japanese food, Chinese food, all those type of food. So yeah, I think if you like food, Vancouver's a good place to visit.
Moving on, we're going to be talking about tourism and sort of the image of Vancouver that you see on social media and what it's really like here.
Yeah, so like personally, I haven't been in Vancouver for that long, so obviously I'm not that knowledge in terms of the history and everything. But doing the interview with Darius, it's just kind of like he just kind of explained to me that how Vancouver actually is. Like how on Instagram they usually showcase the good parts of Vancouver, the views, the downtown views, and like the sceneries and the mountainside and everything. But actually like deep down, it's not like, aside from all those like beautiful sceneries we have, like there's a different side in society that we have to address. And like in terms of like drug usages and homelessness, those are the type of issues that aren't really showcased especially on social media, because it's not really like a positive thing to see in city. But yeah, I think he just kind of touched on that, so I think that's great. But I think all in all, like Vancouver is still a great place to visit, especially during the winter season, because there's like so many great mountains to snow and ski. I mean ski and snowboard.
Snow and ski.
And yeah, and like sometimes during the spring they have like blossom trees in Stanley Park, which is another great place to visit. And there's also the aquarium around Stanley Park and the seawall, and just a lot of amazing places to visit. So I definitely think, like, despite all the not so great stuff, I think Vancouver is still a great place to visit.
And also in the summer, they got like a lot of events going on. Like if you know about the fireworks, unfortunately it got canceled like last year. But like in the summer, especially, the weather is like perfect here. Like it rarely rains and the weather is perfect. Everyone's like bonding together at the beach. Moving on.
I just want to add one thing. But just going back to what Darren said about Vancouver being a nice place. Yeah, there's like the pros and cons of every city, right? Like there's a homelessness, there's a high rent, there's the rain, there's all the quote unquote bad things that come with living in the city and tourism here. But you could say that about any city in the world, right? There's going to be the good and there's going to be the bad. But having lived in Vancouver for 7 or 8 years, 6, 7 or 8 years, like I can pretty confidently say, like, if you're just coming here for tourism, there's a lot more to see that'll catch your eye than that'll like turn you away, right? There's more good than bad here in the city. Like if you're looking for the bad, you got to go out of your way to find it. So
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next clips.
A lot of people living in downtown east side, like especially the homeless people, unhoused people, they all like experience the same issue, like especially around drugs. So a lot of them are addicted and they need them like to live, right? So these kind of people is actually hard to change, even though if they want to, because they usually get no help, at least like not enough help from the government. And I feel like it's just so sad, bro.
Yeah, actually, looking back at these clips, people had different answers, which shows how much misunderstood this topic is. So you know what I mean? So people think it's always about the money. It's always about like their surroundings. It's mostly actually about their mental health. They're buying drugs because that's the only thing that's going to help them at their situation.
Yeah, just adding one last point. Omar made some good points, but I want to go back to what Darius said in our interview. Sometimes it's not about, a lot of people think homelessness, drug addiction, stuff like that, ending up on the streets. It's just an accumulation of bad choices. But, just going back to what Darius said, sometimes it's not about bad choices, but the lack of choices. I feel like that really resonates with all of us in 604 Talks. I think when he said that, we kind of like our ears perked up because, that's very true in this case, right? There's, if you took everybody that's homeless, like not all of them just made bad choices. Some of them didn't have choices, and that's why they ended up where they ended up. So yeah,
It's a very good point, Jaden.
thanks, Omar.
I have something to say as well. So
Yeah, what's up, Darren?
So yeah, like so yeah, when I first like moved to Vancouver, it was just like kind of shocking to me to see how on the like a downtown side, like there's so many people that is homeless, and it was just really shocking for me from where I came from. But I think like after like living here, it's just like all the housing costs and different issues there is in our community. It's not that they have like again on Jaden's point, it's a lack of choices.
Welcome back to the next segment of the 604 Talks podcast. Moving on, we're gonna talk about our next voicer. No more Darius. We're gonna move on to the Covenant House. Thank you, Mrs. Pauline Correa, for taking the time to sit down with us and having this conversation. It was really meaningful. A lot of good, a lot of insightful knowledge and a lot of a lot of gems of knowledge were dropped, and we're very grateful for the experience. And all right, to get things started, Wallace Chang.
It's a blessing to have interviewed Pauline because she works at a place where she helps, like directly helps with people in need, especially like the youth, right? It's really meaningful to us because we get to learn about what someone that works in this kind of industry thinks about every single thing we talked about in 604 Talks, like around the homeless situation for youth, the food, like the drug usage, and also the work life, especially for youth that are already homeless and they're trying to go back to their normal life. But it's obviously going to be hard, especially when there's no like real support, even though the Covenant House would help you a lot on that. And they would help you with food, clothing. You can shower there. But yeah, the Covenant House is a really great place. And we're like really happy to have interviewed Pauline, because she have worked in these kind of fields before.
To cap off this episode, I just want to give a huge thanks to the most important person that made this whole thing happen, Mr. Steves. Thank you for setting up this whole thing. 604 Talks would not be possible without you, without your incredible advice and your very
Knowledge,
hard-headed mentality. Always pushing us to do better, always on our butts to do our best and put in 100% every day, even if that means we only have 50%, And we just want to give thanks for having the opportunity to make something like this and to have the platform to do something like this, because I know a lot of people, a lot of kids our age doesn't have the opportunity to do this. So the team at 604 Talks is very grateful, and we appreciate you. It's gonna wrap it up. Wallace and I have to go. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Welcome back to Fast Break Friday, the podcast where women's basketball takes center court. Each week, we break down the stories, players, and plays shaping the women's game today. Join us interviewing Michigan State's very own Mara Dykstra.
Full moment. I've told my family, I'm like, I think that's going to be the peak of my career, existence. I don't think I can top that. I think that'll be my top moment ever. That was super cool and special.
She gives insight on her training.
I really want to be a better shooter, to be able to score at different levels. And so they had a plan with me, and I worked out a lot of mornings in the summer just by myself on the shooting machine or with my coach, just repping it out over and over again, just getting my muscle memory locked down.
And how to be a confident athlete as a woman.
Empowerment with it, you're empowered to be a female athlete, and that's a super cool part of it too.
As well as Linger's head coach, Adriano Katina.
I think there is kind of that misconception of girls compete not as hard as boys, and I think that's changing drastically.
And Churchill Secondary's assistant coach, Carly Danda.
Same with my coach. He was really tough on us, but he was only tough on us because he wanted us to see us do well. And because of that, we got the results we wanted.
get input from the community from people with and without experience. Hey guys, we're Fast Break Friday and we're out in the streets asking people what's the biggest lesson they've learned being on a team.
The biggest thing being on a team has taught me is how to cooperate with others.
Time management. Keeping myself and my teammates accountable.
Is that you have to work with each other and have a relationship with each other to work well.
Really have to like care about your other teammate.
Whether it's the stories, the grind, or the moments that don't always make the highlights, we're here to give the game the attention it deserves. Make sure to come back next Friday for more conversations, more insight, and more love for women's game. Until then, Fast Break Friday, signing out.
We recorded it and we were like, oh my gosh, we went to watch it. I literally almost started crying.